Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a really powerful story today, one that asks a fascinating question. What if the things that feel like our biggest burdens are actually hiding our greatest blessings?
So yeah, we're gonna get into a timeless tale that explores this exact question. It's a story all about faith, about hitting rock bottom, and in the end, about an absolutely unbelievable discovery.
All right, so let's jump right in. We've got to meet our main character, a man who is truly at the end of his rope.
So picture this. In this rundown little hut lives an old woodcutter. His name is Zahran, but people call him Cha-Cha, which means uncle, out of respect. He's lived a long, hard life, and you can see every bit of that struggle etched right into his face.
I mean, his body is just broken down from a lifetime of hard work. His back aches so much that he can't even carry the heavy bundles of wood anymore. And that's how he made his living, just enough to buy a piece of bread each day.
He realizes, okay, he needs an animal to help him carry the wood. So he goes to this little hiding spot he has under a floor stone and pulls out everything he has in the world. And it's not much, just a handful of old, tarnished copper and silver coins. So with his tiny life savings in his pocket, Zahran heads off to the city market. He's kind of hoping for a miracle, but let's be real, he's probably expecting the worst. And when he gets to the market, wow, it's just a world of scorn. You've got these wealthy merchants in their fancy clothes just laughing at him. They can tell he can't afford any of their good, healthy animals. And just as he's about to give up all hope, he spots it. Tucked away in a corner is this pathetic, lame donkey, barely standing on 3 legs, looking like it's about to die any second. And you know what? Zahran feels this immense pity for the animal. So he walks right up to the owner, and without even thinking twice, he hands over every single coin he has to his name to buy this donkey. And this really captures just how nasty the other merchants were. They literally gather around him, pointing and laughing. Their words are just cruel, hitting him like arrows. They're all thinking the same thing. The old fool has bought himself a walking corpse.
Okay, so Zahran starts heading home with his new, let's face it, pretty unfortunate-looking companion. But this is where the story takes a really unexpected and, frankly, terrifying turn.
So Zahran tries to lead the donkey down the main road, right? The safe, familiar way back to his village. But the donkey, it just digs in its heels, won't move an inch. And instead, it starts pulling him, really insistently, toward this other path, a desolate, thorny trail that nobody's used in years. And look, this isn't just some shortcut. The local legends say this path is haunted. It's a place where people and their animals wander in and just never come out again. They get lost in the rocks, and that's the end of them.
And this really shows you just how bad it got. First, the donkey literally drags him onto this awful path. Then, the thorns are ripping at his clothes, scratching his skin. And then, he falls. He injures his foot, badly. At this point, he just collapses, completely defeated, weeping and cursing the donkey, cursing his luck, cursing the moment he ever decided to buy it. But right then, just as he's given up all hope and is pretty much ready to die, the donkey does something that reveals its true, unbelievable purpose. All of a sudden, the animal stops, right in front of this thick, you-can't-get-through-it wall of thorns. And it starts pawing at the ground furiously, like it knows something is there. Well, now, Zahran's curiosity starts to bubble up past his despair. He gets his walking stick and starts pushing away the thorny bushes, and that's when he sees it. Hidden behind them is a narrow, dark crack in the side of the mountain. So he squeezes his way through this tight passage, and he comes out on the other side into this small hidden valley. And what he sees, it literally makes his heart stop. The walls of the valley are glittering with these thick veins of pure gold, and all over the ground there are gold nuggets, some as big as his fist. But believe it or not, this incredible discovery is only half the story. What happens next is what really reveals the true character of everyone in this tale. Zahran just falls to his knees. He gets it immediately. This is a gift from God, a reward for his lifetime of patience and struggle. So he fills up his sacks with as much gold as he can carry, and he loads them onto the donkey. And you know what? The same donkey that could barely stand before is now standing impossibly strong under all that weight. And so they head back. The very next day, he's back in that same market. And as if by fate, one of his old sacks tears open, and a stream of gold nuggets just spills out, right at the feet of the very merchants who had laughed at him. You can just imagine the looks on their faces. They were completely and utterly speechless.
And this is where we see the two paths, the two fates play out. What does Zahran do? He uses his wealth to help people, building shelters and feeding the poor. And the merchants? Well, they're just consumed by greed and envy. They try to follow the same path to find the gold for themselves, but they go in with arrogance, not faith, and the wilderness swallows them whole. They get lost and are never seen or heard from again.
Which brings us to the powerful lesson of this whole story. Something Zahran shared for the rest of his life. That sometimes the greatest gifts, the greatest provisions, are hidden in what looks like the weakest of things. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? What burdens are you carrying right now that might actually be leading you to your own hidden valley of gold?